So today's topic is pleasure enhancement and flow. And I have to say, I was really worried about this workshop because I didn't have anything. And I like started planning this and I wanted to have this topic for, I don't know, like 9 months. And I never knew what I would actually put into the workshop. It was like the only black hole of this whole course was today's workshop. I had no idea what we'll do today. That has changed in the last couple of days. Don't worry, it's not a black hole anymore. But we'll see. I'm trying. It's a workshop. It's not very theoretical today. I want to just like, just try to have some fun, exchange some ideas. There's a couple of thoughts. I would like you to, what I want to do is like last week, we talked about different regulations and that like certain regulations you should get rid of because they really harmful for your overall motivation. And to like keep going down this path, I want to double down on the like the fun part and like the aspect of like having a good time. And hang on a second. And now you all disappeared. Um, Wait a second, I have to like rearrange this. Um, Okay, I'm going to do this like this. Ooh, okay. Hang on a second. Okay. Let me give me 1 second. Yep. Technical issues. Okay, now it should be better. Okay. Oh God. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Give me 1 second. I have to change something in the um um okay. Sorry. Okay, now we can go. Okay. Um, Technical issues here with the new setup. Um, so joy, enjoyment, pleasure, that's what we want to focus on. And not just because it's more pleasurable. The other day I was talking to my girlfriend and I asked her, I'm doing this workshop on like, like learning and joy. And she was like, it's really easy. When things are easier, you learn better. Like when things are enjoyable, you learn better. It's like, that's true. I guess I guess that is the gist of the whole workshop. Um, However, I think the main question for us is why is it so difficult to enjoy this process for some of us? Like, why is not everything enjoyable? And why do we sometimes focus on the stuff that is not enjoyable, but we think we have to do this? And we did have some answers last week, and I'm trying to give you more answers on this topic and like see if we can even more get away from like those ideas we have from the past, like we have to like learn all this grammar, we have to do this and this. And I think some people have this idea that language learning has to be hard and painful. Yeah. It's like somewhere stuck in the system because that's how it always was. Like it can be different, it cannot be different. And let's see if we can really, if I can convince you to like try to follow a different path. That's a little bit what I'm trying here today. Um, okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Number one is what is flow and why does it matter to us as to you as German learners? Number two, we're going to talk about the difference between acquiring and learning. Something I think that is really important in this course. Um, we talk about how you maybe can prepare better individually and not going to like a language class, but actually how can I prepare better by myself? And why and how could that look like? We're going to talk about taste relearning, something that I find really fascinating. Just to give you a little, like, what does that mean? Just to give an, for example, there's a lot of things that humans actually don't like. For example, beer. If you're a kid, you find beer disgusting. Yeah. When you are an adult, the taste doesn't really change, but it does change. It's not the beer. So it's the person consuming it. And that is called taste relearning. And that is a really interesting process. And we're going to look into this and why also this might be interesting for us as language learners. And if we have time, we're going to talk a little bit about how to form better habits, how to overcome impulsivity and procrastination, and yeah, just build better habits. Well, let's see if we have time for that last part. Okay, first thing I want to do, and I will actually share my screen for you very briefly. Hang on, where is it? Here we go. Up. And do you see the presentation? Yeah. And we start again with like what we did last week with the Menti. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. And we start again with the Mentimeter. And again, just like I'm really interested, what keeps you from having fun while learning and speaking German? That is the question. You can write again, like you can write one, then send it, and you can write another one and another one. What keeps you from having fun while learning and speaking German? Um, I'm very curious about your answers because I have to say when I was thinking about this and I'm not sure, I think it might be very different, but I'd be really curious in hearing your answers. And I think other people might find this interesting too. So here is the QR code. Just scan it and type it in. What keeps you from having fun while learning and speaking German?
Just Igor, you now right now you share all the screens and the next slides that you are going to show and your notes.
Oh, what am I? What?
We have your presenter view visible to us.
Yes.
What do you see right now?
Your presenter view. We see
Okay.
the active slide and the next slide and your notes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait a second. Uh, okay, wait, let's try this again. Um, okay. Now you seeing the presentation only?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now you just see the QR code?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. See the first people are answering. You can write more. There's like, I think you can write three things, right? Like you put something in. Okay, let me. Also like the learning part. I think mostly like I focus like really on the speaking part. I'll put this up here. Do you see the Mentimeter now?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Dimitris. Life gets in the way. Love it. Only 24 hours in a day. Okay, it's true. But that would be the answer to like what keeps you from learning and speaking German? What keeps you from having fun while learning and speaking German? Okay. People? What do you mean by people? The Germans? Okay, anyone wants to comment on what they've written? Hmm. Doesn't feel natural. Fear of criticism, anxiety, embarrassment, internal voice. Okay, that's hang on, I'll take a snapshot of this. Okay. It's just we're not gonna like elaborate on this much. I just was really curious. Um, what is it that keeps you from actually enjoying the process? Because it's yeah, so memorizing words, not having found a way of having fun. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just, if I
Good.
could,
Yeah.
um, I just find it very intimidating. For instance, at my work, where most of the Germans at my work speak uh, excellent English,
Yeah.
like C2 plus English, and it's very hard to have. Um, you feel like if you try to speak German with them, they'll be nice and they'll encourage that, but at the same time, I just feel a kind of insecurity that's not enjoyable because I just feel like I'm just not on the same level at all with them in comparison. And in Garmisch and Berlin, it's kind of you run into that a lot, not just at work. People that just have excellent English speaking ability, and you're flubbing around with your you know C B2
Ridiculous C1
C1
level, Tim.
German and making mistakes.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Um, okay. Okay. There's a lot of stuff here. Really interesting. And like actually take another one. But okay. Okay. That's quite interesting. Okay. Thanks everyone. Um, well, okay. I'll have a look at this later a little bit. I just would really curious what we do with this. Okay. Okay. Then let's start with the actual presentation. Okay. Oh, what is Carolina writing? Hang on, let me. Okay. Um, okay, let's go on. Okay, number one, we start with the flow. And we're not just describing it for fun. Hang on. Okay, so we start with the flow model. Probably most people have heard about this. I'm assuming it's not very new. I also don't want to spend a lot of time on it. It's been like flow and the term and the science, the research is actually from the 1970s and the 1980s. But it hasn't really changed, and it is actually really nice, comes in together with what we're talking about consistency, as you will see in a little bit. Okay, so what is flow? I think it's pretty well known at this point, I think, that it's like the state of optimal experience. Klaus Grabe, the guy of the consistency theory, he would call it a temporal state of complete consistency. Um, that means basically that everything in the brain goes in one direction. There's no countercurrents, there's nothing going against it. It's just going well. The brain is I mean, we are experiencing it as like really pleasant, but it basically means that the brain is in a state of consistency, that there's no goals are going against each other. Yeah. In our awareness is completely congruent with what we get. So psychic energy flows effortlessly. That is the idea of flow. Okay. This American-Hungarian researcher whose name is, I have no idea how to pronounce it. Yeah. Hungary is that they come up with always like the craziest names. And basically, back in the day in the 1970s when this started, he was researching with like, I think like tens of thousands of people. They did research with artists, athletes, creative people to understand how that feels when people are like really in that process, in this like moments of deep engagement. Um, and people describe this being in this flow, being in the state, as repeatedly people said it feels like you are in flow. And I think today this term has kind of like come from psychology into like pretty much all aspects of life, and everyone knows this to be in flow now. It's just like a phrase that people use, and that where it comes from. And we'll talk in a second what flow feels like. You probably have an idea of it, you've heard of it. And this, I find this interesting little illustration. You see, it's about the skill level and the challenge level. And when both are at its max, when the skill, you have extremely high skill and the challenge is high, then you will come into some sort of flow. And you see, like when the medium, when it's challenge level is medium and with the skill level is high, you're in control, arousal, anxiety, and all this stuff. So flow is high skill level, high challenge level. Let's go on. So how does it feel? I think that's the important part for it because the workshop is called Chasing the Flow. And the idea is basically that we are able to identify states, the state, so like we can actually try to get into it more often. Yeah, that is the goal. Yeah, we're chasing the flow when we speak and learn German, and we'll get into later why that is a smart strategy and why that should be the goal. You will obviously not always, get there, but I think it's worth pursuing that goal. Let's start with the structural elements of this flow experience. What does it feel like? Number one, it has to be a challenging activity. We just saw that, like you have to like a certain high level of challenge. It cannot be too easy. It has to be difficult, which I think we can all agree. Speaking German sometimes is challenging. Yeah. So we do have a challenging activity for us. Yeah. There's certain rules. German has rules. Yeah. And you require physical or symbolic, that means language, skills. Also, speaking a foreign language checks all the boxes of a challenging activity. Good. So we have this as a base. Number two, clear goals. We're doing something and we have to like understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. That is also mostly the case when we speak German. There's pretty clear goals. I want to be understood. I want to express something. I want to maybe impress the other person with my fantastic German. Yeah, like we usually have clear goals when we speak German as well. Number three, immediate feedback. That is also the case when we speak German or when we learn German. We want to have, usually the immediate feedback might be when we speak that we see the other person. Yeah, we see if they understand or not. They answer. That's an immediate feedback. Or when we learn, for example, when we watch a TV show, the immediate feedback would be, do I understand what is being said? Yeah, that would be the immediate feedback. Like, I understand what is happening. I understand what's going on. That would be, and if you don't understand anything, it's negative feedback, but it's also immediate. Yeah. Then something that is increasingly more difficult these days is concentration on the task. Yeah. When you are in flow, you have like an intense focus. You kind of forget other stuff. You forget like problems you have. You forgot worries you have. There's a German song, Über den Wolken, which says, beyond the clouds, you don't worry about anything. That's also like as a pilot, there's a certain aspect of flow. So you're really in the task, like you and the task become one. Yeah, you're not even aware that you are doing something. You just are. Yeah. That's a very, if you ever experience this, we'll get there. I think that's probably the most fascinating aspect of flow experience. It's just like forgetting what you're doing and just doing it. Yeah, just not being self-conscious anymore. Okay. Number 5. So we are in extreme control, which is we never feel like we worry, we struggle. We just in a complete, we're controlling the situation. Everything is under control. We're feeling challenged, but we got things are under control. We're feeling great. We're feeling good doing it. Number 6. That's what I just said already. Loss of self-consciousness. Yeah. We don't realize we're doing something. We just are. Yeah. We just pure presence, pure consistency. The next one, that is an interesting part. And I suddenly woke up and it was 11 o'clock. I was just writing and doing stuff, and suddenly it's 11 p.m. Yeah. So time transforms, and you don't really notice how time passes. And it feels like when later you come out of it, it feels like time is being compressed. That is what everyone who like experienced situations like this is like, time just goes by way faster. Yeah. And I think probably you've known this classes, German classes, for example, German classes that are fun, time flies. German classes that are boring, time doesn't fly. Yeah. So like our perception of time is very much influenced by the level of engagement that we feel. Yeah. And that is true in both directions, obviously. And number 8, and that is the last one, the activity becomes an end in itself. Like you're doing it because it is so enjoyable doing it. Yeah. For example, people that run, they talk about the runner's high. So obviously you run to get there. Yeah. But the only way to get there is like to run. So what do? You run. Yeah. Not because it's healthy, just because you actually really enjoy the experience. Yeah. And yeah, and that's called the autotelic experience. Like it's a goal in itself. The activity becomes a goal in itself. And there's nothing more attached to this. There's no like goals beyond doing the activity. And those are like the 8 aspects of flow, the most important ones. And what I would like to do now is just, since we want to know what we're chasing, I want you to just talk with a partner. What is your personal experience with this feeling, with this flow experience? Is this something you have experienced? When? So have you ever, first, number 1, have you ever connected flow and learning and speaking German before? Is this ever like something, yeah, this is something I should put together? Or is this like, no way, this doesn't go together? Number 2, describe whether and during which activity you have experienced a flow-like state while learning or speaking German. That in that context. And if you haven't, if you never experienced this like as a German learner or speaker, have you ever experienced this in another activity, learning activity or any other activity? But try to limit it to learning activities. Okay, that's what we'll do. In pairs. Hang on, I'll send you also in the chat. Let me quickly get the flow in the chat. So you get the PDF in the chat with the questions, everything. Okay. And then, Konstantinos, now that I see you, I'm thinking again of recording.
Yeah. Well,
Before you get mad at me. So then let's go on with the presentation. Hang on, let's share again the screen. And the first question, of course, is I think we answered already a little bit, but the question then would be is why does this actually matter? And number 1, and it's probably pretty easy. We remember again what my girlfriend said. Well, the best way of learning is actually when you enjoy it. So it's pretty obvious. And I believe it's not just a possibility. It's actually for like neuroscience reasons, it's actually the best way to learn. So we're not chasing it just for the heck of it. Yeah, as an autotelic experience, activity, it is the best way to learn. And we'll get there I'm trying to convince you why this is kind of important to seek that out, and maybe like what like possible ways of actually doing this, and why they are such a superior way of experiencing learning German and studying German. And as we said before, it's a complete state of consistency. That means the brain, everything's going to the same direction. There's no, approach goals versus avoidance goals. It's just pure approach. And there's no conflicting signals that occur at the same time. That is important. And when there's no conflicting signals, that means that the brain plasticity is at its peak. Yeah. So the brain is ready to like make new connections, to work smoothly. There's nothing bothering it. There's nothing, it's just like it's going really, really well. And the approach system is completely activated, ideally in this flow state, which creates optimal motivational priming for deep engagement. Motivational priming basically means that your brain, like, metaphorically speaking, just opens up and is ready to create new connections and do and learn. And for that, it is ideally in a state of consistency, in a state of flow. So ideally, when we learn languages, and I think I said this before in the past, language should be a byproduct. We should not be focusing on the language. The best way of learning a language is not to focus on it. It is when it just happens. Why is that the case? So we focus on the task. Yeah, we fully focus on the task, which what we do when we're in flow. And then the language, using the language, how can I say this? What does this work? It becomes secondary. We're not focused on the language, we focus on the task. That could also be watching a TV show. When a TV show is entertaining and it has our level, we're not really focused on the language. It just happens. We just understand it. We're completely immersed and we're not thinking about the language. It just gets in, and we focus on, in this case, the plot of the story. This context, whatever it is, whatever the topic of the conversation is, or what the topic of the TV show is, or whatever that context is, that task is, yeah, when you're in flow, this context provides a motivational scaffolding, yeah, that enables new, because, brain plasticity is high, there's a context coming in, now the brain is learning, yeah. So there's like new neural connections being formed. And now I think the important part is, when we do this, we have on the one side high brain plasticity, but it's not just linguistic elements are activated. It's actually motivational and emotional networks get activated. That means we are interested in something, like we want to like learn about people. On the other hand, the language is the tool to do this. So you have those two things, those two networks, like the language learning network and the emotional network. They're getting connected and they're wiring and they're firing together. Yeah. And so ideally is language sticks then when it's tied to real goals, real interests, real needs, and emotional, meaningful experiences. That could be watching a TV show, having a great date, for example, in German. Yeah. And in those situations, we actually learn the best. Again, I think we said this in another workshop a couple of weeks ago. When we not focus on something, it might actually the best way of getting this done or learning this. And so what wires together, that is the idea. That's like a famous neuroscientific principle. And it's this idea. So like we have to like get some context activated, some motivational goals activated. That could be our interest in people. That could be our interest, I don't know, in computer games. Speaking about computer games, whatever is, we have context and we have the language, and the language happens as a byproduct. And that is the best way of learning a language. Yeah, as a byproduct, as something that just happens on the way. Yeah, and then we're interested and we have the language and it fires together, then it wires together. Yeah, that's like the neuroscientific explanation why learning in a flow state is the best way of doing it, because you're not actually focused on learning the language. And we talk about learning languages and acquiring a language in a second. So that is basically the idea of this, the neuroscience behind learning under flow state. And again, I'll let you now we get a little bit more concrete. Now we're not describing the flow. Now I want you to plan a little bit. Like, where could you actually experience this? Question number one. When you think about the activities you wrote down last week related to intrinsic and integrated regulation, just what did we write down? Should I maybe, but yeah, just like think of if you weren't there last week, think of like stuff that you like learning German. Okay, which of them are especially suited to experiencing flow states? What do you think? Where's this something where you could like go deeper into this to like actually get to this state where like language is just a byproduct and not the actual goal of the activity? And then what would you need in order to elevate these activities into like a true flow learning experience? Just again, with a partner, think about these questions. Yeah, that would be what I would let you do in a second. But first, of course, let's see if there are, I will post the thing into the chat. And before that, if there are any questions. Are there any questions? Any comments? Whatever you want. I'll take everything. I also take silence because that means you guys want to go into the breakout rooms. Okay. Okay, then let you go again. Not too long, 4 or 5 minutes. This time, let's do a no up, new order, and I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Everyone has the PDF with the questions and everything? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, then I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Let's go back to the presentation. Let's go back to something again. Today we're like looking at some classics. We get to no wait, this is the one. We get to this person here. The man is called Stephen Krashen. He became really famous in the last, I don't know, like 30 years. His theories are like from the 1980s. But he has 5 hypotheses about language learning, which are they really came about. They revolutionized a little bit language learning. But till today, I think people are basically not really following his advice on those hypotheses. Not all of them are important for us. I'll show them all of them just so you know. This is the 5 hypotheses he's really famous for. And basically what I'm trying to tell you is focus less on learning. You can even, I think, make a case that you do not have to learn about a language. I think a lot of people have learned languages without learning about the language, just by acquiring it. That is how I learned French. I basically did not take any grammar, no classes. I just acquired the language. I believe there was by far the best way of learning a language. I've learned English, French, Spanish, Vietnamese a little bit, which I hated, but um, but French is I thought this is the best way I think one can learn a language. It was also the fastest way I ever learned a language. And I was basically just focus on the acquiring part and not so much about the learning part. Okay, let's have a look at those hypotheses. Um, so, oops, sorry. Oop, this is what I mean. So one is the acquisition learning, which is said there's learning, which is like learning grammar and like learning the rules and learning all of this, what Sydney just called the book learning part. Yeah. Stephen Krashen would say only acquisition, that is a subconscious, like immersive, they would call this, yeah, builds real competence, not conscious learning of rules. And very often when I've seen this a million times at the Goethe Institute, people just go through the classes, they do like A1, A2, B1 back to back. They never get any input, they just learn about languages. Very often people have extremely hard time expressing themselves. They're not very fast. They just have tons of rules that block them. Yeah, but they never really acquire the language because they never got any meaningful input. And I think that is a huge problem. So yeah, but okay, let's go on. Then we need comprehensible input. This was back in the day, this was revolutionary. Yeah, oh, what? We need comprehensible input. Today we know that is the most, I think, and I think most people would agree, if you like speak to people who have learned many, many languages, that is basically what they say and what they do. Is you acquire language by understanding input slightly above your current level. And it has to be a little challenging, right? And there's certain tools, and I talked to many about you in the one-on-ones, to just like expand what is slightly above your level with like Language Reactor. That is one way of just like a TV show that otherwise would be too difficult. With Language Reactor, you can actually get it down and it's closer to your current level, and you can actually enjoy TV shows that would probably be too difficult for you. But with this tool, you can also understand them and like follow them and like understand what is going on. So comprehensible input is important, important, important. We'll get in a second to some more about this. Then acquiring a language is better than learning about it. Sydney, to answer your question, I do not believe that you will ever get into a flow state with book learning. And as a matter of fact, I just think you should stop doing the book learning part. If you don't enjoy it, stop doing it. If you feel like my brain goes somewhere else, it is a clear signal from beyond or like from inside of you. You just should not be doing it. Yeah. And I think just if you have a hard time with grammar and you hate the listening comprehension in the book, don't do it. Find a way that is more enjoyable. Yeah. You are risking, again, not just you, Sydney, everyone, you are risking your overall motivation by doing things that you don't really enjoy. Yeah. It's not just not good for you in that moment. It is actually really bad for you midterm and long term. Yeah. And just give it up. Just get rid of this idea that you need to do this. There's nothing you need to do. Yeah. It's just enjoy the process. That is what you need to do. And to like focus on the things that you like. Next one, the monitor, that is something that you are all familiar with. And I've talked about this before. Yeah. When you learn grammar, all you do is you're building the monitor. Yeah. You're building an entity in the back of your head that is not producing any language. It is just monitoring what you say. Yeah. Learning grammar rules, for the most part, does not help you produce right language. Yeah. It will just make you much more judgmental towards what you say. Yeah. And it's really funny. Like the only time I think where I've really come about really judgmental language learners was not in school. It was not in like place of integration classes. It was just at the Goethe Institute. Yeah, most people at the Goethe Institute are so self-conscious. They've learned all these rules, and it's like, I want to know every rule, every rule. And the only thing they do is building up this monitor. and they get really self-conscious. Yeah. And so, so what very often people do is like they try, okay, I have to learn more grammar. And then they learn more and more and more, and then they don't get better. They just get even more self-conscious. Yeah. So I think the more you like you are self-conscious when you speak, less grammar you should do. Do more acquiring and less learning about languages. Um, Okay. Natural order. That's another really interesting part. This is also, I think, very convincing for the acquiring part. You can learn all these grammar rules. The way, the language that you use when you like learn a language, it is in a very natural order. Like it comes out in certain, you will first use this, then this, then this, then this. And there's a certain mastery, like you have to understand this, and then you go on to the next one. You cannot learn all the rules and then think that from now on you will speak completely correct. That's not how it works. Yeah, you will, there's a certain progression to it, and you cannot really speed this up. You can learn as much grammar as you want. You cannot really speed up that natural order. And the last one, the affective filter. Fear, anxiety, embarrassment, being bored. Yeah. Block acquisition by raising the affective filter means I'm not enjoying this. I don't want to learn this. We talked about this before in like the flow you're having. There's certain, your brain is not in consistency. Yeah. There's certain, you have approach goals activated. I want to learn. And you have avoidance goals activated. I'm not really enjoying this. I hate this. Why am I doing this? Yeah. And then you just don't really want to learn. So sitting down with the book learning is just is smashing your head against the wall in a certain way. And there's also nothing getting in there. Yeah. Um, those are the five really, really famous Krashen's hypotheses. When you go to like coaches and like, what are they called? People who speak like 17 languages. What are they called? What's the word?
Polyglots.
Polyglots. The polyglots. They usually always refer, like Stephen Krashen is like the polyglot's hero. Yeah. They will always like, okay, this is what you should do, and this. And most polyglots will talk to you about acquiring a language, and they will talk to you about the comprehensible input. And when you like go to like good language teaching, there will always be a focus on comprehensible input, and like, and later we come to the output part. Yeah. But you will, bad language teaching feeds the monitor. Yeah. And good language teaching like gets more into acquiring language and practicing and getting the effective filter down. Okay, those are like Stephen Krashen's five really famous hypotheses. If you want to read more about this, again, you don't have to read the whole book. For this stuff, you will also find a really interesting Wikipedia article that is way more helpful than his original book, which is 300 pages, and it was written in the early 1980s, so it has aged a little bit. However, the essence of his work I believe, has not aged at all, and I think for the most part, research in the last 40 years has actually validated most of those hypotheses, even though there's certain parts you cannot really prove aspects of them. But I think this is pretty, it is known today for a reason. Yeah. I'm also a big fan of his work. Okay, let's do again 3 questions. Which of Krashen's 5 hypotheses do you find most relevant to your learning experience, and why? Number 2, what do you think Stephen Krashen would say about the way you currently study and speak German? Would he approve? Would he not approve? And which activities might you consider spending less time on? About everything, consider like, like between learning and speaking German. What would you consider to spend less time on? And what maybe do you think should you spend more time on, with all like what we've just learned about those hypotheses and about what we said today about the idea of flow? Okay, let me send the, hang on a second. Oh, okay. That was too late. Konstantinos, where were you?
Actually, I'm so happy that someone else was reminding because I'll forget sometimes as well.
Okay. Thanks, Igor, for reminding me. That was too late. God damn it. Okay. So this is let's go to the next part. And then we just said that the personal context-rich flashcards. Yeah. Okay. That is the input part. Yeah. And then, but in order to like actually create a certain dynamic, a certain momentum, you do need, as 50% of the part is due to the input, then you need the output. Yeah. There's like different ways of doing this, but pronunciation training, if you want, probably the most important one. But AI dialogue simulation, if you're into this, do it. It's a way of practicing output. Probably the most two promising ones are probably get a private tutor to just practice the conversations you want to have. I'm talking here, this is really relevant, I think, for people on like A2 level. Yeah. A1, A2, B1, working on your coming out. Yeah. Get a private tutor to like really practice the conversations that you want to have, that you have prepared. Yeah. And this is like the first island, and then you build it from there. Yeah. That's your beachhead. Yeah. That's what Tim would call this probably. Yeah. And then from there, you like start expanding. And this is also like the topic where you are comfortable in. Yeah. And then you expand it from there. And then obviously, later, like the real life conversations. And I think, Anna, you said that just like, oh, in private, I enjoy having conversations. It's just at work where I feel really stressed. But the good news is you already have a place where you enjoy talking and where you're relaxed. Yeah. So it's just probably once, I think, again, for you, vocab. Yeah. I think if you have the vocab, then you will probably feel better prepared for those conversations. That's a guess. Correct me if I'm completely mistaken. Or not. Okay. Okay. I think. Okay. Let's put this into the chat in a second. And three questions for you. Number one, what topic do you often and enjoyably talk about? What do you like to talk about? Yeah. It's probably not 500 things. Yeah. Pick 2 or 3 or 4 things that you really, really care about. Yeah. And then do you intentionally prepare for these conversations in German? Yeah. And how do you do this? Have you been doing this? Have you not? And the third, what could in your case look a concrete input output upward spiral look like for you? Yeah. Those are the 3 questions. What are the topics you care about? How have you before until now prepared for this conversation in German? And what could you do to create? What is still missing in your input output dynamic to actually get there supposedly to get an upward spiral in there? That would be my the questions for you. Let me put this in here in the chat. It's out now. I'm just sending it. Let me stop. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Sandra. Yeah, and you do stuff like this. If you write it on the computer, it would be even easier. You can feed ChatGPT with it. You say, okay, translate everything, give me an example sentence, and then you can take the whole thing and copy it into Quizlet, and it just automates.
Oh, that's another level. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll have to like make a video for this one day, how this works. It's really, really easy. You just copy stuff, put it in ChatGPT, it spits out a list of like 30, 40 phrases, and then you can take this into Quizlet and make automated like
But the free version?
Yeah, it works with the free version. Yeah. Hang on, let me just okay, I think some of you I have shown this already. Let me just really, really quickly I'll make a video and I send it to you. Okay. I'll make a quick video how this works tomorrow, like on Friday, and I'll send it to you. It's really, really easy. It's gonna be like a 1 minute video. Yeah, and it will save you a lot of time, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, you can use anything. I mean, that is just the problem is not the AI. The problem is how I get all this stuff into my head. That's a
Yeah,
little bit the
absolutely.
bottleneck
Yeah.
is on our necks. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the problem. But I think Sandra, what you really said is like what you have also, you have a person that you think, I like the way she talks. I want to use these phrases.
Mhm.
And I think that is
Yeah.
really important. We need people we like, we admire, we want to talk like those people. And then when we have a person like this, then you will also like start copying that person. It's like, and you will listen more closely when that person speaks. Yeah. So that I really find like an idol like this. Also, Anna at work, there may be like one person with like, this guy, really cool the way he or she talks. Yeah. Really like this. Yeah. Um, I've had this in real life and also in TV shows where I was like really, really had like a, like a bromance with like one of the characters. Like, I want to talk like this guy. It sounds terrific. Yeah. So like find people like that. Yeah. And maybe what helps, um, no, let's do the following. I wanted to do there's tons of ideas today. I hope in input and stuff, and I'm just like skipping the stuff about taste relearning. It's not so crazy. I mean, I find it really interesting, but it's maybe not so relevant to us now. We came to the most important question: is like, how can you create this upward spiral, like output input? How can you create this for you? I think this is the key to learning a language. Um, and I have more stuff prepared on like habits and stuff. I think it's not, that is the question you have to answer. How can I build this output, input, the other way, input, output spiral for myself? Yeah. Where can I practice and prepare? I say it again, prepare the conversation you want to have, not every conversation. I think that is really key. Yeah. And it's prepare the conversations you want to have. I cannot, so I'll say it again. And we'll get to the last thing. And so this was the end of module B. Yeah, the second module. We have 3 modules, A, B, and C. Today was the 8th workshop. I cannot believe we're like through for 2/3. Yeah, we have 1 month left, which also means I only have a month left before the kid is born. I don't want this course to be over, to be honest. I wish it could go on for like another 17 years. But if that meant that the kid is but I think my girlfriend's belly would not, yeah, does not feel the same way about this. She's getting big. I hope I'm not, it's, I think she's happy when when he's being born. Yeah, we have a very, there's a goal conflict here. But anyways, it's a different topic. This is the end of module B, and I wanted to take some time just to like talk a little bit about the last 2 months. I will ask you again to fill out the feedback. Probably another hard sell. Yeah, okay, that's another way, Dimitri's. And just to take like a little, like have a look at the last like 7-8 weeks and talk about like a couple of questions. And we have some time for that. And I just let's hang on, let me share my screen. What are those 3 questions? And yep. And the questions are the following. Number 1. So compared to like December or November, I just want you to go through your head a little bit with a partner about what has changed in like being part of this course, the way you thought about things. How do you feel about learning German? Has anything changed in the way you feel about learning German? Has anything changed about the way you feel about speaking German? Yeah. And the most important question for me is, do you act or behave differently now than like, let's say 2 or 3 months ago? What have you changed? Like, what is it that you do differently? Yeah, in your daily life, in like studying and learning and studying German. Yeah, those would be the three questions. I'll send them to you again as a PDF. Um, hang on, where's the chat? Oh God, chat. The chat is always really kind of, there we go. And I think I'll do some videos for like this language reactor stuff and how I like think about this, how I would do this. I'll do like a little video and I send it to you on the weekend. So you like get a better idea how I would do this. Yeah. And what I think is like a really smart way of doing this. But now we take 5 minutes about these questions, and I'm just really curious um, how you yeah, how things have changed for you. Just like take a couple minutes and look back at the last 2 months. How have things changed? The PDF is out. And let me just stop the sharing here. And then we'll do a new breakout room. And I'll give you again 5 minutes. Put a little, looking back at the last. Hang on a second. Um, mm, mm, mm. Let's do this here. Okay, I see you guys in a little bit. Okay, everyone will be back in a second. I gave everyone a couple of seconds to come back. Let's see. Sorry for not recording 10 minutes. I hope it's okay. Yeah, it's a little. I'm working on it. Okay, let's wait till everyone's back, and then we talk about um, yeah, how things have changed for everyone in the last 2 months, 3 months, what kind of impact the course had, and yeah, let's see what. Hang on a second. Where are the rooms? Um,
Wow, you were immediate this time.
Oh,
You're recording.
yes, yes. Let's not fucking it up again. This is a huge pain in the ass. It's breaking and stopping and working on it. Okay, let's take a couple minutes. Anyone wants to share? I'm like really this is I would please. What has changed the last 2 months, if anything? How you feeling differently about stuff? I'm just really curious. Whoever wants to talk.
Can
Yeah.
share my experience.
Yeah.
In my case, I think that I have discovered during this course that one should actually be less in control of the language and of grammar in order to progress. And I think that I'm applying this step by step, and this releases the pressure. And yes, you see the progress. It's a step by step progress. It's not all of a sudden, but I think that just realizing this and understanding these concepts helps you have this progress.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. Okay. Who else? If nothing has changed, you can also say that. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to say that for me, my German life is before meeting Ingo and after meeting Ingo. So it was completely different. Maybe my knowledge is not really different, but my confidence and my view is different. So I just started talking, and I never noticed how I can talk 2 hours with Ingo in German.
Thank you, Pavi. Yeah.
Thank you.
Other comments, other stories.
I think what
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to make a tiny comment that I realized like a couple of months ago, I was like kind of stuck with like with learning course, with, like attending courses, learning by book, and I thought this is the only option. If it's boring, if it's even if it's extremely boring, this is the way how you should do it. But after like 2 months of doing this workshop, I think there are actually much more other ways, and you are not you don't have to do the way. There are many other options. You should find the topics you like and just engage into them, and you don't necessarily need to just to do all the grammar books to learn the language. It's
Burn
kind
the
of
books,
yes.
Igor. Burn the books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it as the Germans would do. Burn the books. Yeah, Konstantin. Konstantinos?
Yeah, I think most of us agreed that we kind of changed our mentality towards learning the language. For me personally, in the beginning, it was a massive struggle. I hated it. Just looking forward, like how it was going to be my journey. I was not excited and going through with it. No motivation at all. Now, with this course, I think we understood that yes, it's a difficult process for everyone. It is. We shouldn't be so self-conscious, so embarrassed and into our heads with the language and talking and trying with it. It's important to find ways to enjoy it, and it will come to us. So like it calmed us down and it gave us a new way of not canceling, like throwing away the books and leaving behind the grammar and getting immersed into more cultural things and things that we enjoy doing. And with time, we'll get better.
I mean, in the end, do what you would want to do anyways. I mean, nobody learns the language because you're interested in books and listening comprehension from the book. What you want to do is you want to talk to people. I mean, that's the fun part. That's the exciting part. That's why we learn this, right? In a certain way, we want to communicate. So let's communicate, and focus on communicating and practicing that. Thanks, Konstantinos. Anyone wants to share a story? Everyone's tired? Okay, then I guess there's a lot of like sharing again. You can also share all this information on on Telegram if you want, but I'm glad that you're sharing also here on the chat. One last thing I want to say about on Friday, I'll send you an email with like the video and everything, the weekly recap email. And I'll send you again something about the feedback. And I want to just quickly say something about the feedback. 9 people have taken the time, many of you here, of like doing the feedback. It is really important for me. I'm not sure how you understand how important it is to get that feedback and also to get like an honest and critical feedback. I guarantee you, if you write something skeptical or critical and you put your name or don't put your name, I'm not going to get mad at anyone. I love people who have a different opinion. I need people to tell me what they don't like about this course. Yeah. Please be the person who says what they don't like about it. Yeah. This is really, really important to me. And I'm not going to get mad for anything. Yeah. Unless you complain what like boring course it is, then maybe okay, it's a different story. But like if you please be honest about it, it really, really helps me. And like when you're critical of something, when there's something you don't like, tell me about it. That's exactly what I want to hear. Yeah. So be honest, take the time. It means a lot to me because that is how when I can change things or like, no, okay, this works, this doesn't work. What can I change? So it's really, really important to me. I want to keep doing this course in the future, and I really want to like make things better. And I wrote this in the email. And some people have noticed this. Like doing those courses is a lot of work for me to prepare. Yeah, this takes every week. It takes me 2-3 days to prepare this stuff. I have to read books. I have to like do all this kind of stuff. It's a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time out of my life. I love doing it. I love doing it for you. Yeah. And I love because I think there's something of value comes out of this. Yeah. In 3 days. Yeah. Well, I've read many of those books before and I'm just rereading them again. But it's a huge pleasure to do this. but I need feedback, and I'm really enjoying the feedback. And so if you find 5 to 7 minutes to do this, I'm very, very grateful. Okay. Next week we'll talk about we're like 10 minutes over. We'll talk about self-esteem. And I will give you an essay on self-esteem that I've written. Some of you have probably read it already, but I'll put it also in the email on Friday. So 2 homework, the feedback, and read the essay, which puts you into the mood for like the last module, which is going to be on self-esteem. And we're going to talk the next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about self-esteem. And then the 3rd week on March 18th, we're going to talk about something I've been working on for weeks. I'm extremely excited about. Yeah, it's going to be about identity-based motivation. So I think the next 3-4 weeks will be extremely exciting. If you have time, please swing by. Should be absolutely worth your time. So self-esteem and then identity questions. Okay, that's it for today.